them instead of writing?
Sure, I think they will raise their hand. Like they will use the raise hand button.
Okay.
And then you will get to know. And I will also send you a message if you need it.
Okay, so I'm gonna be like, just so you see my last screen, this is typically where I leave it in case people have questions that they rather contact me. I leave it here so that they can have my contact info. So as you can see, it's kind of challenging to bounce between that and the chat and hands and all the other stuff. So are you able to do that, or is it your preference that I stop sharing and then just go normal and read the?
We can
I think we will have the
if that's
Q&A session. Yeah, if I go ahead.
Sorry, we can read out the questions if that's preferred.
Okay, thank you. I think that would be a lot easier just in case I miss anything.
Sounds great.
Thank you so much.
Brittany, just want to confirm that is your last name Baldwin? Did I pronounce it correct? Baldwin. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think we will just wait for 1 to 2 minutes for all of our participants to join.
Sounds good.
Okay, cool. I think most attendees have been assigned. So we should start. Okay. Good morning or good afternoon. My name is Chelsea, and I'm a volunteer with Indigenous Physical Activity and Cultural Circle. Before we begin, just a gentle reminder that all sessions will be recorded. We ask that you please keep your videos and microphones off during the session. If you have a question, please feel free to raise your hand using the raise hand button in Zoom. Today, I will be introducing Brittany Baldwin. Brittany Baldwin is the owner and founder of the Fluorescent Fitness. She also works full-time as the Assistant Director of Fitness at Florida International University in Miami, Florida. Brittany has over 10 years of experience in fitness and wellness industry. Over the last few years, Brittany has presented at numerous national conferences related to fitness and wellness program management. She is a published author of research studies as well as fitness editorial content. She currently works as an adjunct professor in the Department of Recreation and Sport Management at Florida International University. Today, Brittany Baldwin will be speaking on Disconnect to Reconnect, how to make the technology problem a part of the solution. Please join me in welcoming Brittany Baldwin. And I will let Brittany take it over.
Thank you so much for that introduction. I appreciate it. And hello, I appreciate you all being here today, and I'd love to welcome you to today's session entitled Disconnect to Reconnect, how to make the technology problem a part of the solution. Just a little bit about myself. My name is Brittany Baldwin, and I'll be your presenter today. I am the owner and founder of Fluorescent Fitness. Fluorescent Fitness is a fitness and wellness consulting company designed to provide customized and inspired fitness and wellness solutions for organizations in need. I also work full-time as the Assistant Director of Fitness in Florida International University in Miami, Florida. Quick overview of what we're going to discuss today. First, I'm going to discuss a little bit of history on the impact of technology on today's society, for better and for worse. Then we're going to evaluate how technological integration into our fitness and wellness services provides a unique and much needed opportunity for further service expansion and elevation. Then finally, I'll share a few recommendations of how you can begin to implement technology into your fitness and wellness programming to create an atmosphere where our users are more accessible in that way. Let's begin. Technology. In today's high-touch, fast-paced society, technology is really what makes our world go round. We use technology to navigate to new places. We use technology to help us discover new things. We even use technology to help us maintain our day-to-day schedules. But most importantly, We utilize technology to help us stay connected to those that matter most, both near and far. Now, whether your main form of technological use comes from your phone, your television, or even your laptop, the point is technology has become a major part of American society. Specifically, according to the Nielsen's rating company, the average American dedicates 10 hours per day to screen time, and that number is steadily climbing. Now, while there are many lifestyle-related benefits that come from this high amounts of technology use and access, we must always consider the other side of the coin. That being that there are many negative side effects, mostly health-related, that come from this high amount of technology use. And I'll share with you a few examples. First, we have increased stress levels. So high amounts of technology use can lead to increased stress levels, mostly because we're unable to disconnect from our stressors such as work, family, friends, and our devices are what keep us connected to those things. Another negative health outcome that comes from high amounts of tech use are sleep disturbances. This occurs as our devices tend to disrupt our natural circadian rhythms, making it challenging for us to fall asleep and stay asleep. High amounts of tech use can also lead to decreases in socialization. Specifically, when we look at children developing their social skills, when they have high amounts of daily screen time, their social skills tend to be stunted. Additionally, high amounts of tech use can lead to decreases in self-esteem. This specifically occurs when we look at high amounts of social media use. So social media keeps us connected in a way where we're constantly living comparative lives. So as you begin to constantly compare your life to the life of your favorite influencer, you may decrease in your self-esteem as you think that you're just not good enough as is. So given many of these negative health-related outcomes that come from high amounts of tech use, the main recommendation from health and fitness providers has been turn off the screens. That means take a step back from all that technology use and instead focus on fostering quality in-person relationships. Now, this is a good recommendation, and it's held tried and true for many, many years. However, the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic led to what I will refer to as the COVID conundrum. So specifically, with the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic, the COVID conundrum occurred as individuals were in need of health, fitness, and wellness services more than ever, just to help them cope with the day-to-day changing demands. However, due to local regulations, health and fitness providers were unable to connect with our users and members in traditionally meaningful ways. Thus, this led to a burning question. How do we, as health and fitness providers, use something like technology, which is blamed for ruining people's health? How do we use that to help increase people's health and fitness? So when faced with this burning question, I turned to the boutique fitness studio market for inspiration. So first, let's address the question, what exactly is a boutique fitness studio? LifeFitness.com defines a boutique fitness studio as a small gym focusing on one or two specialty group fitness formats. Taking that definition a step further, the boutique fitness studio has several defining characteristics, with the first being that the boutique fitness studio market is characterized by a premium price tag, that being over $100 per month just for membership. The boutique fitness studio is also characterized by having a highly qualified and expert training staff. And finally, the main defining element of the boutique fitness studio that we'll focus on most for today is boutique fitness studios are characterized by high amounts of technological integration into their fitness service program and delivery. So here's some examples of some national boutique fitness studio locations for which many of you may already be familiar. First up, we have F45 training. F45 is 45 minutes of functional HIIT style training utilizing various modalities and circuit training to deliver that workout. In the middle, we have Soul Cycle, which primarily focuses on the indoor cycling format. And finally, and arguably the most popular, we have Orange Theory Fitness. Orange Theory provides boot camp style training, utilizing equipment such as ellipticals, weights, and treadmills to deliver that workout. Now, as you can see, these are three very popular boutique fitness studios. They differ in the type of workouts delivered, the way they're delivered, and even the appearance of the studio itself. However, all three of these boutique fitness studios and many others share one very central defining characteristic, and that being that they're all tech-centered. Technology is a major component of service and program delivery in the boutique fitness studio market. And I would dare say the boutique fitness studio market has revolutionized the use of technology into their programs and services. So as you can see, technology is nothing new to the boutique fitness studio market. And as we consider how boutique fitness studios are using this model of technological integration into their program and service delivery, we must consider how we, as fitness professionals in all sectors of the industry, can apply this use and model of successful technological integration into our fitness programs and services originally made popular by the boutique fitness studio market. So when considering how we can successfully apply this model, the answer is balance is key. So like with all aspects of fitness and wellness, balance is the key to making sure that we maintain that delicate balance between connecting with our members, utilizing technology, and also allowing them to disconnect in ways that does not negatively affect their health over time. So next, I'm going to go on to provide you with some recommendations about how you can begin to integrate technology into your fitness programs and services for best results. So my first recommendation of how we can maintain that delicate balance between connection and disconnection when it comes to technological integration in fitness and wellness programming is to prioritize convenience. And what I mean by that is begin asking yourself, what are some easy tech integrations I can put into my fitness programs and services? What are going to be the easiest things for my users and members to utilize? And what are going to be the easiest integrations for my coaches to seamlessly integrate into their programming? So when prioritizing convenience, wearable fitness devices really comes to mind. Wearable fitness devices are things like Fitbits and Apple Watches that allow us to track metrics such as how many steps you're taking, your heart rate, some even track sleep and calories burned. Now, these wearable fitness devices provide a unique opportunity for ease of implementation and integration into our programs and services because many of your members, clients, and participants already have these devices. Thus, there's no additional upfront cost to you as a facility or as a program manager. And because our members already have these devices and are familiar with them, it decreases the learning curve as we begin to integrate these devices into our programs and services. So an example of how we can easily integrate wearable fitness devices into fitness programs and services would be utilizing them within personal training sessions. Now, this is a strategy that I've used at both my current employer and many in the past. So as I spoke of previously, a lot of our clients already have these devices that they're using and they're familiar with. So these wearable fitness devices really serve as a basis for additional education and further development as your trainers and your clients connect. So for example, if one of a client's goals is weight loss, the trainer can then use the wearable fitness device to educate and explain to the client that the more you're getting activity in, which would be tracked by the number of steps you take per day, the more you're working towards your goal of overall weight loss, even when you're outside of the facility. Another way we can use wearable fitness devices in personal training would be to use them as an educational tool within personal training sessions. So specifically, a trainer could educate a client that while doing a more cardiovascularly based exercise, the client will notice their heart rate is reading much higher on their wearable fitness device. Versus when performing a strength-based exercise, the heart rate isn't going to read as high on your monitor, but you're still working and you're still actively burning those calories. Another example of how convenient wearable fitness devices can be seamlessly integrated into fitness programs and services comes from an example of a yoga studio in the Atlanta metro area. So specifically, this studio is utilizing heart rate monitors worn on participants during hot yoga classes. When engaging in hot yoga, the heart rate is naturally going to elevate due to the increased tax and demand on the body because of that temperature. So it is imperative for both the instructor and the participants that heart rates are carefully monitored so that we're making sure everyone is safe and in a zone that they're going to get the maximum benefits out of that hot yoga class. So what this studio decided to do is utilizing heart rate monitors via the wearable fitness devices. The instructor is able to then monitor and track the heart rate of the participants during the hot yoga class, providing any adjustments, recommendations, and modifications to make sure they're staying within that zone safely. This is also an additional point of engagement and education for your users as well. Another way that we can conveniently integrate technology into our fitness programs and services by using things that your participants already easily have access to and knowledge of utilizing is using things like smartphone apps. Again, these are very convenient and simple ways for us to connect in meaningful ways. One example of a smartphone app that can be easily used to enhance overall wellness of your service providers would be the Better You Wellness app. So Better You is an app that utilizes artificial intelligence in combination with your smartphone to help users create, track, achieve, and reward them for meeting those specific wellness and fitness related goals. So taking that a step further, Better You allows users to customize their goals based on several areas. You can set physical activity goals for yourself in which you may say, I want to take a certain number of steps per day. So the Better You Wellness app will work with your smartphone in order to track how much movement you're making and how many steps you're taking. The users can also set social goals. For example, I want to call my mom twice a week. So Better You will send you reminders to call your mom throughout the week, but will also track your phone usage to see how often you're actually calling your mom. Better You allows users to set education goals saying, I want to read a certain amount of hours per night. So Better You will send you reminders in order to open up those apps that are related to education and also track how often you're using them. And finally, Better You contributes to that disconnection part of the delicate balance by letting us set mindfulness goals. So these are doing things like reminding us to turn our phones off for a certain period of time so that we can either meditate, just take a break from that technology, or go ahead and get a good night's sleep. Another convenient app that I recommend and personally utilize to help us connect in meaningful ways using that tech integration is the MyFitnessPal app. So MyFitnessPal goes beyond just traditional food and calorie tracking. It has many features, both paid and free, that really help with that connection of trainer and client, both inside and outside of your facility. Specifically, by following one another on the MyFitnessPal app, the trainer and client are able to see food intake, food frequency, hydration levels, and activity levels. The trainer is able to set goals for the participant, to send reminders, and also just get more instantaneous feedback about ways they can help support their clients, even when they're not within the facility. So my next recommendation of how we can maintain that delicate balance between connection and disconnection when using technology for our fitness and wellness services is to begin to think outside of the facility box. And what I mean by that is some of the most meaningful fitness and wellness related experiences that you and your participants have may not always occur within the four walls of your institution. As a specific example, during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, when everything was shut down, one thing that I did in order to connect with our users at my current employer was create a session called Disconnect to Reconnect that we hosted virtually through Zoom. So this combined sound therapy with the sound crystal bowls, as well as yoga, all performed live through Zoom. We received high utilization and really positive feedback from our users that this was something that they, quote, needed and didn't even realize it. It also served as a great opportunity to virtually de-stress, and create community around our fitness and wellness goals. Another way that you can begin to think outside of the facility box to engage in meaningful ways would be doing something as simple as a walking challenge. So going back to my previous discussion about wearable fitness devices, we can easily use those Fitbits, Apple Watches, or even just free pedometers that you get in those giveaways and create a self-reported walking challenge for our members. This would be where it's up to our members to then go into a spreadsheet and update daily or weekly how many steps they're taking per day. You as the program manager can set goals, can incentivize, and can even provide small and simple rewards just to engage them in those ways. This is a very simple way to show your participants how fitness and wellness goes beyond a gym, but is more about just being active and moving and appreciating that space. My final recommendation about how we can seamlessly maintain that delicate balance between connection and disconnection is to redefine the in-person experience. So what this means is being in person and engaging in fitness and wellness services doesn't always have to mean that it's a live class with a live instructor present. Specifically, utilizing streaming platforms such as Fitness on Demand, Wellbeats on Demand, and Less Meals on Demand, you can host live streamed classes within your facility. Now, this gives your users the best of both worlds. They get to utilize the space and equipment that your facility provides, but they also get the convenience of having that on-demand content that they can participate in. This is a great option if you want to diversify your program offerings, but you don't necessarily have the staff to support that. It's also a great way to engage with users who may not be engaging in your programming due to schedule limitations. Here's another example of a studio, specifically a yoga studio, that's offering this type of engaging experience. So as you can see, they've really bared the expense of installing a large movie theater-like screen where they're able to show live streamed yoga classes. The participants would then come into the facility, utilize the space and equipment to participate in that class. The sound system has also been tied in to create an optimum and immersive fitness experience for users. Also partnering with fitness service providers and software providers such as Stages Cycling and Techno Gym, you can also provide this on-demand and live engaging content. So Techno Gym and Stages Cycling offer formats that can be integrated into group cycling and other group fitness formats such as boot camp and HIIT, where you're able to either schedule or have on-demand content that's pre-recorded that they're able to utilize within your facility. During live in-person classes, you can also use this technology to create moving visuals and backgrounds. This feature is customizable by the instructor as well. So for example, if the instructor wants a more competitive type class or atmosphere, they can design the visual to be more of like a leaderboard. If they want something more team-oriented, you could do various games and group activities in order to engage in that way. And also, if they're just looking for something to immerse your users all together, you can create moving backgrounds that oscillate and change colors to the sound and beat of the music. So as you can see, I provided you with very simple yet effective ways that you can begin to integrate technology into your fitness and wellness services for best results. But in the end, it's all up to you. It's up to you what you choose. But I will recommend that as you begin to implement these integrations, make sure that you're constantly evaluating for best results. In evaluation, that means checking in with your users as well as your coaches, and also continuing to do your research within the industry to make sure how you, as a facility and program manager, can better maintain that delicate balance between connection and disconnection with technology for your users. And with that, I want to thank you all for joining me today. I really appreciate your time and your attention, and I do hope you found this experience very educational. I want to open it up for anyone who may have questions that you'd like to ask, either via chat or you can ask them over the video. And I've also provided my contact information if you prefer to email and contact me directly. Thank you so much.
As I was listening, I'm sitting there trying to figure out how to make the technology in my hand to work, because what I'm finding is all of these health apps are actually interfering with my use of my Bluetooth and my hearing aids, and it's constantly turning down the sound. Not that I'm expecting you to resolve that. I'm just sitting there saying that we still have some, how do I put it, some hurdles to overcome,
Mhm.
right? Some inclusiveness to happen. What I'm finding is the way I would use technology is those TVs, those smart TVs that you can write on, you can use the screen to, and you can put videos in order to turn around and actually bring, like, for example, as a basketball coach, what's missing in every gym is a protected TV. Obviously, we need to put one of those clear plexiglasses over it so it could be properly utilized and still safe. But I find that's what's missing in the gyms, like every gym, because you know how the teachers used to roll the TVs into the, what you call it? We need to start inserting those smart TVs and make them pliable and safe for coaches to use them, right? Because otherwise you have to build in another entire room in order to get a smart TV to talk to your teams. I
Mm.
would I would like to see them together if possible. But I listened, and I think you're probably right for a lot of it. But at the same time, I'm like, oh wow, never thought of it that way. But interesting presentation. Thank you.
Oh
All
yeah,
right.
thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
And I see that Aurora has a hand up. Aurora.
Hi, yes. My name is Aurora Anderson. I'm from Treaty 7 in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. And my question's kind of actually related to what was just shared. I work in recreation for people with disabilities, and my agency is one of the only ones within Western Canada. And I guess my question is that, like, you had a lot of really excellent resources and some apps, but how can we utilize these apps to meet individuals who maybe have disabilities and experience things in different ways and still see success with that?
That is a great question, Aurora. Thank you. Yeah, accessibility is definitely an area where we are continuing to grow. And what I found actually working at a previous institution, I had a student with some accessibility issues. Specifically, she was blind. So what I was able to do with that institution, because we integrated the on-demand content and she was actually engaging in it, I contacted them directly and letting the company know, hey, this is an issue that I'm having. This is what I want to do with it. And I'm really liking your product, but there's a gap here. And what we found is these companies are actually very open to that user feedback and working with you to figure out how you can overcome those accessibility needs. A lot of times it's just a matter of education and awareness. So of course they have a prototype in mind when they put together these devices and this technology. But of course, as the end user, we're the ones experiencing what's really happening. So what I would invite you to do, Aurora, as you're finding what types of technology, you're interested in using, but finding there's some accessibility or inclusivity challenges, really reach out to those providers, let them know what's going on and let them know what you're trying to achieve. And many times they're even willing to do custom updates, or they'll schedule these types of changes out so that they can accommodate end users. But definitely good question and great thing to consider for sure.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Of course. Any other questions that I can address? And I can also put my email in the chat again in case anybody has anything you want to contact directly. All right. Well, if there's no other questions, I really appreciate your time and your questions and all your positivity as well. So I'll turn it back to Chelsea if there's anything you'd like to add.
Yeah, thank you, Brittany. Thank you so much for this wonderful presentation and your discussion. So on behalf of Brittany Baldwin and the Indigenous Physical Activity and Culture Circle, I would like to thank everyone for attending this valuable presentation. Please leave this breakout room and join the main conference room. Thank you everyone for joining us.
I guess we go to the other rooms.